I knew the room before we even walked into it. The dining table had been extended, an extra leaf added like a concession, not an invitation. The good plates were out, the ones that only came down when appearances mattered. My mother had arranged the chairs herself. She always did. Order was her language. My daughter tugged my hand, distracted by the smell of roasted garlic. She was 7 and still believed tables were neutral things. Places where food happened. Where adults softened. I let myself believe it too, just for the drive over. We arrived early, which was my first mistake. Early meant scrutiny. My mother took in my daughter's coat, her hair, the way she leaned into me, and something in her face tightened. Not anger exactly, more like recalculation. My father hovered near the sink, drying an already dry glass. He smiled too fast. He always did when he sensed weather changing. Dinner began without ceremony. Conversations skimmed the surface, work updates, traffic, a neighbor's surgery. I watched my daughter swing her legs under the chair, humming softly, tracing the pattern on the tablecloth with her finger. Then my mother noticed where she was sitting. It was subtle at first. A pause. A look. My mother didn't raise her voice. She never had to. Authority lived in her posture. In the way she stood behind my daughter's chair, hand resting on the back as if testing its stability. "This seat," she said, lightly, "is for family." I felt the old tightening in my chest, the reflex to translate, to smooth. I opened my mouth to say something neutral, something cowardly. I didn't get the chance. She pushed the chair. Not a shove, not dramatic. Just enough. The chair tipped. My daughter fell backward, her shoulder catching first, then her head knocking softly against the hardwood. The sound wasn't loud. That was worse. For a fraction of a second, no one moved. The silence was total. Not shock, recognition. Everyone in that room understood exactly what had happened and exactly who it was normal for. I stood up. My body did it without consulting me. I was already kneeling, lifting my daughter, checking her head, her arms, my voice low, and even as I asked if she could breathe, if she was dizzy. She nodded, eyes wide, embarrassed more than hurt. That cut deeper. My mother took a step back, palms open, as if surprised by the physics of it all. "I didn't mean," she started. I didn't look at her. I helped my daughter back into the chair, then moved it away from the table. I brushed her hair from her face. I told her she did nothing wrong. I meant it in a way I had never been told. Then I stood and faced my mother. I said 5 words. "I'm calling her school tomorrow." That was it. No volume, no flourish. My mother's face drained of color so fast it startled me. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes flicked not to me, but to my daughter, to my father, to the doorway. My father made a sound that wasn't quite a word. His hand tightened on the glass until I thought it might crack. "You don't need to," he began. He swallowed, tried again. "Let's just sit. Let's calm down." I shook my head, still calm, calmer than I had ever been in that house. "No," I said. And then, because my daughter was watching, I added, "We're leaving." My mother found her voice then. It came out sharp, brittle. "You would do this to your own family," she said. "Over an accident." I met her eyes for the first time. "Over a pattern," I said quietly. We left. No coats retrieved. No goodbyes managed. In the car, my daughter asked if she was in trouble. I told her no. I told her the truth in a way a child could hold, that sometimes adults hurt people when they want control, and that it's my job to make sure she's safe. She nodded, absorbing it with the seriousness children reserve for things that matter. The next morning, I did exactly what I said I would do. I called her school. I asked to speak to the counselor. My voice shook a little then, not from fear but from grief, the grief of naming something I had survived by never naming. They listened. They asked questions. They wrote things down. At one point, the counselor said gently, "Thank you for telling us. Mandatory reporting is a quiet thing. There are no sirens, just procedures clicking into place." By afternoon, Child Protective Services called me, not accusing, not panicked, professional. Measured, they explained next steps. They asked if my daughter was safe. I said yes. They asked about my parents. I told them the truth. That evening, my phone rang. My father this time, his voice was unsteady, stripped of the practiced calm. "They came by," he said, asked questions. "Your mother is upset." "I know," I said. "She says you're exaggerating." "I'm documenting," I replied. Silence stretched between us. When he spoke again, his voice was smaller. They said they might restrict visits." I closed my eyes. The cost finally counted. "That's their decision," I said. He sighed. "She didn't mean it," he said weakly. "You know how she is." "Yes," I said. "I do." The line went dead shortly after. Weeks passed. The house stayed quiet. No invitations, no apologies, just distance settling like dust. At night, I lay awake sometimes, cataloging the losses. The fantasy of reconciliation. The hope that my mother would one day soften without being forced. The version of my father who might have intervened earlier if he'd been braver. But something else was there too. One evening, as I tucked my daughter into bed, she asked, "Are we still family?" I thought carefully before answering. "Yes," I said, "but family doesn't get to hurt you." She considered this, then smiled, already moving on. Children don't linger where adults spiral. As I turned off the light, I realized something quietly monumental had happened. I had not won. There was no victory to celebrate, but the room had gone silent once, and for the first time in my life, I hadn't rushed to fill it. That silence had done the work.